Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about creepy urban legends. Now I know a lot of us are relatively skeptical, but I don't really think it matters whether you believe it fully or not. I just think it's fun to read about them. And if you do believe them, you'll probably have nightmares, so good luck with that. Anyway, today's sponsor is Shudder. Thank you, Shudder, for sponsoring this video. Shudder is the Netflix of horror. It has the largest, fastest growing human-curated selection of thrilling and dangerous entertainment and all of your favorite devices. Shudder has premieres every week full of binge-worthy movies and shows, whether it's rediscovering classics or new releases. You can stream all of the above for $5.99 a month or $56.99 a year, and on all of your favorite devices such as Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Xbox One, iOS, and Android. To try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code ReadyToGlare. I recently enjoyed a documentary about found footage named The Found Footage Phenomenon. It's actually really interesting to learn about the history of one of my favorite movie genres. To try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code ReadyToGlare. Get started streaming the best horror, thriller, and supernatural films and series. Shudder's expertly curated collection includes must-see titles like Hellbender, The Seed, and See Me, plus all of the best horror documentaries and the hit series Cursed Films, exploring strange and tragic coincidences on allegedly cursed productions like The Exorcist, Poltergeist, and The Wizard of Oz. Thank you, Shudder, for sponsoring this video. So I basically found an article that was talking about urban legends from each state. I only picked 3 because obviously if we were going to go through each state, we'd be here for forever. So I picked some that I thought were super creepy for me, just because hauntings and curses just make me feel uncomfortable. So those are the ones I picked, but I will link the article down below. There are plenty about murders if that's more up your alley. So the first one is from Arizona, and it's the ghosts of Slaughterhouse Canyon. So the story of Slaughterhouse Canyon, also the less frightening Luana's Canyon, takes place during the gold rush. And so during the 1800s, there was a family who lived down in the canyon, and they were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day the father did not come back, so his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children's cries anymore, put on her wedding dress and then murdered all of her children and then threw them into a river. And the next day she died out of starvation herself. And the legend states that if you go down into Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now, you will hear the loud, anguished screams of the mother who lost her mind. Honestly, I think the scariest part would be having a mother that loses her shit to that extent where even her children are at risk. I think that's the saddest part of all of this. Also, I would be afraid to go to the canyon at night, even though I don't even know if I believe in ghosts and all of that hullabaloo. I still probably would be afraid to go anywhere near there, just because I think I would automatically think about that story and it would make me extremely paranoid. So that's probably gonna give me night terrors. Anyway, the next one is from Connecticut, and it's about a woman called Hannah Cranna. So allegedly she was a witch, but I mean, we all know how that went back in the day. Every woman was basically a witch. Known as the Wicked Witch of Monroe, Hannah Cranna gained a reputation as a witch in the 19th century when her husband died by mysteriously falling off of a cliff. And locals reportedly believed that she had bewitched him, which, like I said, unsurprising considering every woman was a witch, basically, according to the general populace anyway. People believe that she would cast spells on people she didn't like. Wish I had that power. Hannah lived to the age of 77, but right before she died, she asked to be carried down to the cemetery in coffin by foot, not wagon. After her death, the people of Monroe tried to wheel her coffin down the hill, but were unable because her coffin kept falling off, so they were forced to carry it, which went along with her wishes, which is interesting. When the townspeople returned to her home, it was found to be engulfed in flames, sealing Hannah's reputation of witchcraft. Now you can visit her real grave in Trumbull. This one I found interesting because it's creepy on multiple levels. Firstly, the idea of a coffin continuing to fall off a wagon is haunting because I can just like imagine a body rolling out every time, which is not ideal. But aside from that, the fact that she had voiced her wishes and that they came true via her body the coffin continuously falling off the wagon is interesting. The house being on fire, I think if you really want to believe it, you can say, oh, it was her and she did it with her mind because she's a witch. But on the other hand, it's just like if she was that hated that people thought she was a witch, I could really easily see people from the village, city, whatever, just lighting her house on fire. So I don't think that's particularly creepy. I just think the fact that these things align in that way is questionable. So there's the last one, and this one's from New Hampshire, and it's the Witch of Hampton Goody Cole. So Eunice Goody Cole was the only woman in New Hampshire history to be tried for witchcraft multiple times. Her first charge was in 1656, and she was charged again in 1671. When she died and her body was recovered, the townspeople were rumored to have staked her through the heart to prevent her from haunting their town. People continue to blame Goody Cole for misfortunes of Hampton citizens for the past 300 years. For example, a boat full of Hampton residents overturned and everyone on board drowned, even though they were swimming in distance of shore. People blamed Goody Cole for the crash and for cursing the passengers by having them forget how to swim. This one I thought was super creepy just because it seems extremely cruel. Now, I don't know how many people who are going to be watching this believe in witchcraft necessarily, but the idea that someone might allegedly be cruel enough to not only overturn a boat, but make people struggle to their deaths by making them forget how to swim is not only alarming, but just generally scary. And the fact that after years and years and years, people still blame Goody Cole for basically any misfortune that occurs, I think says also, culturally speaking, how much it affected people in the general vicinity. Those were 3 stories I thought were super creepy. I also think because witchcraft scares me in the sense of it scares me how women back in the day, as soon as there was something that was potentially unconventional or just weird, quote unquote, depending on, the social conventions of the time, that they would just be tried as witches and potentially die or be shunned from society. I think that's kind of what scares me the most, because just the whole concept of being kicked out because you're not exactly the same as everyone else is insane to me. You guys can let me know what you think. You guys can let me know if there are any urban legends that really creep you out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Shudder for sponsoring this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.